Meghan Markle, once the picture of confidence, is now scrambling to hold on to whatever remains of her carefully crafted image. Just when she thought 2025 would mark her glorious return to the spotlight, federal investigators dropped a bombshell that she absolutely did not see coming. The IRS has launched a full-scale investigation into her Archwell Foundation, and trust me, this is not just some passing rumor. This is the real deal. And what made this turn of events even more shocking? The moment the IRS began its deep dive into the foundation's financials, Meghan's public persona started crumbling, and fast. This wasn't supposed to happen. She was supposed to be having a redemption arc with Netflix deals, branding opportunities, and maybe even a return to acting. The world was supposed to witness the revival of Meghan Markle, the former royal turned Hollywood queen. But instead, the world is witnessing a spectacular fall from grace. The drama began to unfold when more than 40 ordinary citizens, yes, you heard that right, decided they were fed up with the lack of transparency at Archwell. They called the ears, they sent letters, and they filed complaints demanding to know where the money was going. But when these concerned citizens asked Archwell for the tax filings they were legally entitled to, they got nothing. Nada. Silence. Can you imagine that? An organization that claims to stand for transparency and kindness blatantly ignored these requests. 44 of them. 44 people were told to take a seat and be quiet. How could Meghan, who lectures everyone about compassion, let her own charity play this dirty game? It's hypocrisy on a scale few could imagine. And then, just when it seemed like the truth was about to break through, Meghan tried to make a desperate move. She rebranded Archwell. 6 days after the ears confirmed their investigation, she slapped a new name on the foundation, Archwell Philanthropies. It was as if she thought she could just sweep all her problems under the rug and start fresh. But here's the kicker. The ears doesn't forget. They don't play that game. The new name doesn't erase years of non-compliance. You can't run away from your financial history, Meghan, no matter how many fresh starts you try to claim. Just when Meghan thought she could escape the consequences of her actions, reality came crashing down. The rebrand of Archwell to Archwell Philanthropies might have seemed like a clever way to distract the public, but it's actually making her look worse. Why the sudden urgency? 6 days after the ears confirmed they were investigating the charity, Meghan announced the change. It's almost too obvious, isn't it? She thought she could just wipe the slate clean, pretending like the old Archwell never existed. Never mind the missing tax filings, the ignored requests for financial transparency, and the serious legal questions hanging over her. But let's be clear, the ears isn't going to be fooled by a fresh coat of paint. No matter how much Meghan wants to pretend like this is a new beginning, it's not. The truth is, Archwell has been operating in a gray zone for years. They haven't filed proper tax documentation since 2022. 3 years of nothing. For a public charity, that's not just bad form, it's against the law. Public charities can't hide their finances. Every year, they must open their books to the public. That's the law. But Meghan and her team, they ignored it. And when people started asking for those records, what did they get? Silence. Complete, utter silence. 44 concerned citizens, all of them requesting the same thing, access to the charity's tax documents, were completely ignored. And that, my friends, is not just an oversight, it's an insult to every single person who believed in Meghan's so-called mission. It's a direct slap in the face to the very people who time and time again heard her preach about kindness, compassion, and transparency. But behind closed doors, crickets. Now, the ears is stepping in, and it's not just going to go away. The investigation into Archwell is serious, and no amount of rebranding will change that. Meghan might have hoped that by launching Archwell Philanthropies, she could erase the past and avoid facing the consequences. But this is where it gets even darker. The foundation might be rebranded, but those tax filings from the old Archwell, those still need to be explained. The questions remain unanswered, and as each day passes, they become even more critical. But here's where it gets even more troubling. This isn't just about bad PR or poor decision making. The real issue at hand is how Meghan and her foundation have consistently ignored the most most basic legal obligations. Archwell isn't just failing in terms of transparency, it's been operating outside the law. For instance, while Meghan and her team rebranded the charity with hopes of shifting focus, they're still dealing with serious issues in California. Archwell never filed its 2024 registration renewal or paid the required fees. The deadline was May 15th, and yet they couldn't be bothered to do the most basic thing, file paperwork. Instead, Archwell's status is listed as delinquent. Not under review, not pending, delinquent. This isn't a minor slip-up, this is a blatant disregard for the law. A charity that can't be bothered to meet the most basic legal standards is asking people to trust it with their donations? How can anyone take that seriously? It's a pattern that's impossible to ignore. Year after year, Archwell has failed to meet the same requirements every other charity must adhere to. And yet, Meghan, with her celebrity status and all her talk of making the world a better place, has acted like she's above the rules. She's gotten away with it for far too long, assuming her fame and royal connections would shield her from scrutiny. But the truth is, the walls are closing in. She might have thought she could simply get away with dodging the questions, but now the public is asking hard questions. Where is all the money? What happened to the millions in donations? And this is where it starts to look even worse. Meghan's carefully crafted narrative of charitable virtue and global impact is falling apart under the weight of missing documents and unaccounted for expenses. Archwell has reported staggering operational costs year after year, costs that would make sense for a large, well-funded organization with offices and multiple employees. But guess what? Archwell has no permanent office. It's been making staff redundant. Its actual charitable contributions represent a tiny fraction of what it has taken in. And people are starting to notice. Sources close to Archwell are now revealing shocking details. Staff members claim they haven't been paid the wages they're owed. Can you believe that? A charity that talks endlessly about compassion and helping others can't even pay its own employees. How is that acceptable? It's hypocrisy at its worst. And the financials are downright alarming. Consulting fees, travel expenses, administrative overhead, the expenses pile up with nothing tangible to show for them. Where is all the money going? Meghan's rebrand of Archwell Philanthropies might have been her attempt to move away from the mess she's created, but the financial trail is still there, and the ears isn't going to let it slip through the cracks. All these missing filings, all those unanswered requests, they aren't going away just because she's slapped a new name on the foundation. But wait, there's more. Meghan might have thought she could outrun the scrutiny by rebranding, but the truth is she's been caught in a tangled web of lies, mismanagement, and pure arrogance. And it's not just the finances that are under the microscope, it's her entire approach to public life. The same tactics she used to spin a fairy tale narrative about her charitable work are now unraveling, exposing everything for what it truly is: an opportunistic scheme designed to manipulate public perception and profit from her fame. Let's talk about that rebrand again. Archwell Philanthropies? It's not just a clever name change, it's a cynical attempt to distance herself from the mounting issues of the old organization. But this time, she didn't just tweak the branding, she opened a whole new charity. A new, separate legal entity, which, let's be real, has the legal paperwork buried in fine print. And here's the kicker. It's registered for commercial purposes. That's right, commercial. A charity now operating with commercial intent. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. How can you run a foundation that's supposed to benefit the public and then turn around and create a new entity with the sole purpose of generating private profit? Meghan might have convinced herself that the media would eat it up, but the public isn't stupid. People are starting to see through her charade. She may have rebranded, but the motives haven't changed. This is about self-promotion and cashing in on her children's names, not about making a real impact on the world. And speaking of her children, this brings us to one of the most chilling parts of this saga. Sources close to the Sussex household have whispered disturbing details about Meghan's plans for Archie and Lilibet. She's reportedly been telling staff that the kids will be her ace in the hole, her ticket to an even bigger payday. That's right, Meghan has apparently been holding off on fully revealing her children to the public, not because she's trying to protect their privacy, but because she's she's waiting for the perfect moment to unveil them in a way that will generate huge profits. It's a master plan of manipulation, and it's as disturbing as it is transparent. Meghan has allegedly been telling people that Lilibet has the same mannerisms as Princess Diana, even claiming that her daughter embodies the spirit of Diana in some almost supernatural way. Does anyone buy this? Because it seems like a desperate attempt to tie her children to the late princess for maximum media exposure and, of course, money. How low will she go? Let's not forget, this is the same Meghan who just a few short years ago claimed she barely knew who Prince Harry was before meeting him. She supposedly had no idea who the royal family was, no real knowledge of Diana's life or legacy. But now, suddenly, she claims to see Diana in her own daughter? The hypocrisy is mind-boggling. Either Meghan is lying about her history with Harry and his family, or she's fabricating this connection for pure financial gain. Either way, it's a devastating revelation about her character. Meanwhile, Meghan, hiding in Montecito and scrambling to distance herself from the IRS investigation, continues to craft carefully staged moments for the cameras. It's clear who the public is choosing. The contrast couldn't be more stark. Meghan may try to rebrand, repackage, and manipulate her image, but the truth is becoming undeniable. She's been using every tactic in the book, playing the victim, invoking her children, and spinning a narrative of redemption, while the royal family quietly carries on with their sense of duty, grace, and authenticity. And the world is taking notice. As for Harry, his silence speaks volumes. He's witnessed firsthand how the pursuit of fame and media attention can destroy a person, especially within the royal family. He knows better than anyone how damaging this all can be. But where is he now? Stuck in a toxic bubble, complicit in the very things he once railed against. The man who once claimed he wanted a private life for his family is now parading them around for the world to see, all for the sake of his wife's ambitions. How much longer can this go on before it all implodes? This isn't Meghan's comeback year. Now, 2025 will go down in history as the year everything came crashing down for the Duchess of Montecito. The year's investigation is just the beginning. The truth about her foundation's financial mismanagement, the questionable use of donor money, the lies about her charitable intentions, it's all being exposed. And no amount of rebranding, no carefully timed media release, no desperate PR stunt can change the fact that the walls are closing in. The public has spoken, and they're seeing through the lies. Meghan Markle's carefully constructed empire is about to crumble, and the fallout will be as dramatic as her rise to fame. Stay tuned because the next chapter is going to be even more explosive.